Intro. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my talk show. I'm your host, That One Rebel, here back again with another interview 232. This one's going to be for a special guest by the name of Tygre, and he's going to be joining us momentarily here. Just a reminder for everyone in the chat, I do re-chat here and there, but my direct attention will be towards my guest. If you have any questions for Tygre and I, please refer to using the chat command !questions for any questions for Tygre and I. And hopefully you guys enjoy the interview. It'll be a minimum 1 hour. It will go longer if our guests would like to. Anyway, without further ado, let's introduce our guest coming from behind the curtains.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome.
How are you?
Great. How about yourself?
I'm really good. Today was a nice day off, so kind of recharging. Slept in like
That's
a
nice.
lot.
Nice. That's great. You know, getting to get to sleep in, you know. How long? Like 10 hours? 8 hours? 15?
Well, in total combined, probably around 10 hours.
Holy smoke.
I wake up, eat some food, fall asleep on the couch, wake up, go to grab my laptop, fall asleep on the way there.
I gotcha.
It's a journey.
Well, welcome to my show, man. This is your first time being here. Yeah.
This is my first time. This is amazing.
Yeah, this is what you can
really
do.
amazing.
This is what you can do in VR chat. This is next level stuff, you know?
This is so cool. I like the camera. I'm sorry, I don't know, not to reveal the smoke and mirrors, but that's amazing. That's cool. As somebody who loves, as a narcissist, I enjoy being able to see myself at different angles.
Really, you're a narcissist? Really? Are you one of those mirror dwellers? Yeah, true.
No, actually, I'm one of the few that isn't.
Oh.
I get bored too easily. My attention span is far too short, so.
Oh, okay. All right, so my first question for you today is, how did you discover VR chat? Like, how did you become, one with VR in chat,
I knew VR chat existed vaguely for a while. I didn't quite grasp what it was. All I knew was it was free, and my friends and I could join and it was just nutty. It was crazy. You could join any world. There's a bunch of goofy stuff. We would just play on desktop, and then it kind of fell off my radar for a while. This was years ago, a couple years ago at least, and then it fell on my radar, and I kind of so I'm a furry, and I, as one does, I know.
No, wait, what? No way, oh my god. Dude, I didn't even know, dude. What?
And was as a furry does, following artists up a storm on Twitter, and
Absolutely.
I found, a lot of these artists would do their art on Twitch, and so I started following their channels, and when they're not doing art, they're usually in VR chat, bouncing around, and so I started seeing, oh my god, that's a lot of fun. They're getting on, they're playing with their viewers, they're exploring cool worlds, it's just you understand, you can even just chat. You could just sit there and talk in whatever form that pleases you most, which this does. And so to me, it was a progression of things. Once I discovered VR chat, how to use it to its full potential, it was a matter of time, and slowly I started actually on desktop, and then I grabbed the headset, and then I grabbed the full body. That's my husky saying hello. He likes attention, obviously, and so and then I started streaming it, and that's where how I figured out VR chat, like what it really was migrating from Twitter artists to Twitch.
That's interesting because I've interviewed a lot of people, and most people are like, oh, I got into VR chat from streamers or YouTubers or from a friend or just randomly stumbling upon it or watching some meme video, and got into Knuckles or something. I don't know. So it's kind of interesting how you got in through Twitter through artists.
Yeah, and it kind of like it was funny because I was watching one specific artist, that one Dogger. We're now close friends, and it actually started on me watching him primarily. Like, I loved his art style, so I drifted over to Twitch, and I was watching him. And then on weekends, he would meet up with a ton of people, like a bunch of these people in the same social circle, but they were all like streamers and furries, and so I was like, that looks really fun. I was like, my goal is to just be at one of those nights, like meet all these cool people, and yeah, so like I literally would sit on my couch and watch these people like hanging out in VR chat with my dog. Like, we would just sit and I'd be like on my phone or whatever and just have it in the background on my TV, and just like, it just seems so social, like something I really like missed, and it just seems so cool. I was like, I have to do that. So yeah.
I gotcha. Now here you are, you've been enjoying it. How long have you been playing VR chat for? Do you know, like, the day or time frame?
I don't know the exact day, but it's about 5 months, 5 to 6 months.
Holy smokes! You're new. Yeah. I'm old. I'm an old frog. I'm 3.5 years, going on 4 years now, man. I'm a boomer of VR chat.
The VR chat boomer. Well, that's cool though, because I feel like I missed out on like a lot of stuff. I feel like I missed out on like phases and development and like a deeper understanding of things. I haven't had like I'm still playing catch up. I feel like I'll always be playing catch up. Like, just to understand. I mean, I'm learning everything from the ground up. And by seeing people who've done it and gaining inspiration, so it's hard to like find novel stuff to do because at this point everything in VR chat's kind of being done. Every world that there is kind of like new worlds are coming, but like there's the popular worlds and worlds you see like elsewhere, so it's hard to be original. It's hard to, I don't know, stand out. So like it takes a lot of research to because it's been around on like long enough, kind of you don't want to be doing the thing that people have seen 1,000 times. So
True.
Like that's the difficult part about being new.
Yeah, that is actually a really good point that you bring up, that like, because you're newer and you have to do a lot more, you have to do things to stand. It's not like with me, I've been around for so long, so I just know what to do, and for that I was doing a talk show. I'm one of the few people that do it, especially to this level degree of all these cameras and having a cameraman and all this stuff. So this is one of a kind.
It's incredible. Yeah. It really is. That's why I'm like, this is what really gets me going. Like, I love this. I love just like it's crazy. Obviously, the limit, like, you can do anything you want, really. I mean, this is unheard of. Like, this level, and I say it all the time on my stream. I'm a sucker for production value. Like I use the VRC lens heavily when I do my concerts. I have all those cameras, and like that's stuff that was built by somebody else. So like I want to elevate it to something like. Now that I know that this type of stuff can exist, it's inspiring. It's really cool.
Yeah.
This stuff excites me. That I love that. Something like a really, really clean, well produced, really advanced level of content. It's just that's the stuff I tune in for.
Yeah, absolutely. This is about 1 year into production, so this world's basically done, but I'm actually expanding upon it to replace these stages with like different types of stages based on the content. So doing like improv night, doing like fashion shows, things like that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. I love that. I'm going to have to keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. So my next question is, how did you get, like, so you've only been playing VR chat for 5 or 6 months because of an artist. Why the name Tygre? Like, why, like, is there a story behind it?
Yeah, actually, I love telling this story. So, like, I've loved tigers. The animal I've loved tigers. Like, it was never even a thought. People ask me, like, why did you choose tigers? It was like from the earliest memories I have, it was just my favorite animal. Like, it was like, I would recount like this memory when I was in kindergarten. Remember making paper mache stuff? Usually,
Yeah.
like, paper mache puppets and stuff. We made marionettes, and mine was a tiger, and like I loved reading books about tigers as a kid and all this stuff. So like that was like where like the animal like association came from. When I first started on Twitch, I actually had the username Tigger, like Disney's Tigger.
Yeah.
And just because I was like, it's cute, it's a tiger, it's goofy, cartoony, like that's everything I love. And obviously I loved that character, sorry. And that eventually became problematic for a multitude of reasons. For obviously copyright issues.
Yeah.
I didn't think my channel would get to a point where like I was monetizing things, and I was like, well, this is bad. But that actually isn't what got me. So when I first started streaming, I actually started doing music, and I started singing, and I did Twitch Sings, and I fell in well with some of the Twitch staff who ran Twitch Sings, which afforded me like a couple opportunities which like I understand is like crazy hard, like it was unheard of, but I got to be on front page for a slot a couple times, and when you have a name like Tigger with an auto mod system for the front page that is really strict, I'm sure you can put two and two together and understand what happened.
Yeah.
And everybody got banned. like hundreds of people got banned. Staff members got auto modded out, like banned from the chat. Like it was crazy. And so then like one of the staff members was like, hypothetically, if there were like, I can't tell you what to do because of like back end reasons, but if I had a similar situation, what I would personally do is rebrand. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. So I actually rebranded to Tygre with a different spelling.
Yes.
Until this became available. Actually, the original owner of the name was really generous and gave up the name, and then I had it swapped. And so like, because this is the name I wanted all along. Yeah. So that the name and the branding was always meant to be a tiger, like around tigers. I love tigers, blah 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 blah, and so like it just I finally, after the whole Tigger debacle, it finally like made its way to where I really wanted it to be. I didn't have any real intention of staying associated to Disney. It was just a name,
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. That's an interesting story, the rebrand, and now you have what you want. I wish that was like for me, I really want the name Rebel, but they won't let me, it's not even claimed. It's just, I don't know. I gotta figure it out. Yeah. If you look up,
and they've said no.
I went for the partners support, and they were just like, yeah, we can't help you with that. And I'm just like, oh man, I guess I gotta.
That's what they're there for.
I guess I gotta be like number one. I gotta be number one Twitch streamer. I gotta have 1 million viewers, and then they'll be like, "Oh, okay, sir, you want this thing?
That's
sure."
No, sure, anything you want. Yeah, like, that's bizarre. That's. You might have got somebody on a bad day or something. I don't know, because I've known a couple people who've managed like. Anyways, you deserve it. They should be able to accommodate. That's bizarre.
Hook a brother up.
I mean. I can tell you, what, I actually can. I can tell you maybe who you can message. They might be able to hook you up. There's some really good people on staff, but yeah, it might be, yeah.
Oh,
we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk. I'm excited because I've been trying for years. The name's not taken. If you go to twitch.tv/rebel, it just doesn't work. And I was just like,
see, that's so annoying. There was actually this website. So Commander Root is somebody who like makes tools to help streamers. They're back end. They use the Twitch API to like, if you get like follow botted, you can go in and choose who followed you between whatever times and dates, and it'll just unfollow. Like it'll kick them all out, so you don't have to worry about that. I mean, like technically, from what Twitch has said, if you give all like it doesn't matter either way. If you didn't do it, then nothing, like no harm done. But anyway, they used to have a tool actually where you could monitor names getting released back into the pool of names. So like. Yeah, but then Twitch was like send them like a cease and desist to take down that specific tool. Like they left off some of the other ones, but that was specific. I don't understand what their whole deal is with that. And because there's two, there's like obviously an account that owns it and is an inactive one, and then when it doesn't appear, it means the account was like deleted and like it was released back into the pool. But if somebody had the name, so somebody had the name Rebel, and then they lost the name, right? The account doesn't exist. Nobody owns Rebel. 6 months after that happens is when it gets released back into the public pool. And you used to be able to monitor from what date it was released to the exact date it was going to, or from when it was, given up to the exact date it would release. So you could like keep an eye out for it and snag it. Now I don't know. Like I wish that tool still existed, because then you could look and see and just play the, game the system. I'm sure it's floating around in the ether, like.
Well, I've been checking every day for 3 years, so I think that's more than 6 months. If my math checks out. So
weird.
What I've been told is maybe the name is like a Justin TV name. So when it's a Justin TV name, that's like a special list. Or option B, someone told me, what if someone had the name Rebel and then did some, bad things on streaming at permanently banned. So
yeah, that if a partner has a name and then they let it go, it can never be used again. If one of us gave up our names, if you gave up that one Rebel and decided to go for something else, no one could ever get that one Rebel now or ever. So maybe that happened. I don't know. I feel like they treat the names like they're currency or something. I don't know. Then again, though, I am a sucker for like a clean name. I'm one of those people that's like, name, I need it. Yeah. So, yeah.
Come on, Twitch. What happens if I make a generous donation to
right?
A very generous donation to Twitch? $1 million? Just very generous. Just
Yeah. Nobody needs to know. Just
yeah, it's charity.
Just here. Just take it. Release it,
Absolutely. So, one of my next question is, how did you get into becoming would you classify yourself as a VTuber, or are you just, someone who just plays VR chat and has fun?
I class myself as a VTuber. It's easier to explain. I feel like now VTubing is becoming a much more household term to understand, and if VTubing is exclusive to people who are putting out mainly YouTube content, I started doing that, so I guess now technically, but even before then I was calling myself a VTuber, because I play VR chat. I play that most often, but I play video games. I use Suva and play games, and that's actually how I started VTubing, was playing video games first before I started streaming. VR chat, I was doing VTubing. Once I got my setup and stuff, I started streaming gaming and just playing in VR chat. It seemed really complex. I didn't have an avatar yet, so I was just it's easy to pull up VC Face, play Warzone for a few hours, and then I would just hop on VR chat on the weekends and stuff in the afternoons and just have fun, not stream it. So I play a variety of stuff. I just found my niche in VR chat, so that's my primary go-to. Even when I'm doing the music stuff, it's within VR chat and all that. So yeah. VTuber. So I feel like that's correct.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So. When you got into VR chat, what was your first experience getting into the game, loading up into VR, and then what was that like?
This is so. I was so stupid. So my first thing, I was what have I been most what do I love to do? I had in my mind, I was I want to do escape rooms. I want to do mazes, things that physically are not there's mazes don't exist in the world that are complex and big. I want to do something like that. So the first thing I did was load up a maze that was ill lit, ill optimized, and and it I almost threw up within 2 minutes. I was running. I didn't know where the hell I was running. I didn't have any of the comfort settings turned on or off or whatever, and I was just so disoriented. I chose the one activity I chose to do first in VR was one that purposely disorients you and makes you really confused, and you like, and I just was, I now I laugh at that because I was like, oh my, I got really afraid that I was like, am I one of those people that's like just never gonna get it, like I need like Dramamine or something, which, you know, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I was like really afraid. I was like, oh my god, I spent all this money and this, I'm gonna hate this. And then I was like, oh, you know, perhaps I don't just go sprinting into the darkness and turning and getting confused and sick, and I actually go vibe out first. And so that was my first experience. It was not fun.
It's interesting. Now you have full body. Now you can, you know, you move your little feetsies and, you know, shake those
I can.
hips. Yeah.
It's all in the hips.
Yeah. When you look yourself in the mirror, is it you feel like this is me? This is what I always wanted to be?
Yeah. So like my goal, and it's being worked on at the moment. It's almost done actually. A from scratch avatar.
Yeah.
This is and my so. This model, this is based off of the Otter model, the creator of it. We're friends. We've actually been good friends for a while now, and now the otter is a pretty prolific species, like within the furry community and VR chat. And it was like the only thing that like it caught my eye because like there's not a lot of cartoony. I associate more so with the cartoony side of like the furry fandom, like cute, adorable, little. That's my vibe. Whereas some people go for like far more anthropomorphic and humanoid, and you know, there's just like there's a million different factions in between. So like you have all these avatars, but I was like, I want something that's cute and little and like expressive, and it's got like, and I saw the otter, and I reached out to the creator. He was just released it, like he was brand new to the scene too, and so we both kind of like grew together, and it was a no-brainer. I mean, like the big old eyes. So when I look in the mirror, like in real life, I love, like, I don't see this, I love feeling that like there's something about the cutesy nature of it that is like I've always wanted to express like outwardly, and it's hard to do that in like human form. So like I literally in high school I got voted like the superlative most likely to blah 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 blah. I got voted most like a Disney character, you know, in the vein that like I am cartoony and, you know, larger than life, and I love that. I've always felt that, and so like this, I get to embrace it. So I don't physically see this, but it makes me be able. It allows me to live like the emotions and the energy that I want to put out a lot easier. So, you know, it's more so that. I mean, it's like I love looking. I just feel adorable. It makes me want to move in adorable ways. It makes me feel happy. So.
Yeah. The one thing I've always noticed in VR chat, you know, just recently we had 40,000 people playing VR chat, and there's so many different communities, and I played this game 3.5 years, and I still haven't seen everything. That's like how expansive it is. And one community that's always stand out for me from the rest is the furry community, and like I'm sure you've been to like the Fur Hub. I'm assuming that you have, and like. That like hub is like so advanced. Like I'm so surprised that like that people have come together to build such an amazing, cool world. And like I'm a little jealous. I'm like, why isn't that like the VR chat hub? Like what the heck? Like I'm like, dude, you got like a gallery, you got the dance floor, you got like all these things, you got like avatars, you got like a portal to go to all these other. I was like, what the? I was like, dude, the VR chat hub is like trash, dude. Compare, like, what is this?
I'd like leave it to a bunch of like furries to get together and create like some like highly polished alternate reality. It's amazing. Like that's basically when I got into VR chat, I had no friends, like literally none in VR. Especially because of the high like price point, like I had no friends to die, so I was diving in blind. So I literally would like go in the menu and hit search, type in furry, and see what came up, and it was like Fur Hub was #1, furry like convention centers 2, and then you know several other avatar worlds. And I started bouncing around. Obviously, Fur Hub was the first one I went to, and like. That really it sets a high bar. It's not like because it's. I mean, at the end of the day, furries like the fandom is based around art. Obviously, it doesn't like the anthropomorphic style it doesn't exist. So we create it artistically in any way we can. So like it not only so it's got the dance club and hangout zone, but also like people get to share and showcase their stuff. You know, so like it I love that it's a starter pack. You can go and you can see artists you want to commission. You could go and just you can grab like the base otter. This one's altered pretty heavily with the teeth and the snout and the tail and like all the, color, all this stuff, ears. But like you can get a base otter from there. Just walk up, hit the pedestal, and you change the avatar and you have it. You can favorite it and keep it. And they have plenty of those. I mean, they have the otter, they have dogs and wolves and cats and like everything that you can imagine. Just base level, like you could just grab it and get started. And then if you go into a public world, when you first start out, you see other people doing the same thing. I mean, it's a great place to get in on the ground floor when you're fresh and new. And, the one sad thing, and I'm sure that like, every fandom is plagued by this, is that like that's like almost like a fly trap to some others. They see that as like, I know where all the furries are going to be, so if I want to go grief somebody, you sure as hell they're going to be there. So so that's like the tough part. But otherwise, which is like anything on the internet, people will like eventually find you. But like no, it's amazing how what's been created. I was blown away. Just seeing the art, just the artists being able to showcase their stuff and just have it on the walls. There's literally a gallery. You just go to the gallery. It's like being in a museum.
Yeah.
It's like
I've been there.
You can immerse yourself in it. Yeah, really all encompassing. You can really just get immersed and forget about everything else for a little bit. And I mean that's why we do this. So yeah, no, I love. It's an amazing world.
I've also the furry convention also is like really advanced too, like the hotel system. You have to have like a key card and stuff. Right. That was so cool. I was like, what? I'm convinced right now. VR chat, if you're listening, the devs, hire some furries, work on the game. This game will be 1,000 times better, guaranteed.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, I've never met somebody like some of the model makers, the 3D, like that's where the money is, like making models, like the 2D live and making like avatars. That's where I feel like that's like that business has so much potential. Like the sky's the limit, and you can some of these like advanced like artists can make crazy money just developing that stuff. I mean, this is like untapped skill. Like what you essentially do with the characters, you create like a video game asset but then you go beyond that, like with full expression and physical motion and dynamic bones. My hair moves, my ears, my nose just wiggles. Like my nose will just like wiggle like it has idle animation. You'll see my ears twitch, my tail will flick sometimes. Like that's beyond anything. You have people who are like are applying skills that like beyond requirement for like game dev companies. And they're just, freelancing it. So yeah, absolutely. Especially with how VR chat has been these last few days, there's a plethora of developmental skill just drifting out there that I feel like they can employ. Or I mean, I don't know. Like maybe it's not that serious, but like it's crazy what people can do.
Absolutely.
Like it's crazy.
Absolutely. There's a lot of potential out there, and I just feel like I don't know whenever because I played other social games like Neo's VR, and it has a lot of I think not all of them, but I think a good chunk of them are almost all the devs are furries, and they're like very committed in it. Like I think out of any community, any fandom I've ever met, the furries are always the most like driven to do something. Anytime that they produce something, it's always top tier, like 10 out of 10, whatever it is. And I'm just like, damn. Yeah. I'm like, if I'm listen, if I'm running a company, I'm just gonna hire a bunch of furries. They'll do it. They'll make sure everything's good to go,
And then you'll take a look at it and be like, oh, that's great, that's perfect. And they're like, no, it's not. Shut up. And go back to working on it until it's beyond beyond perfection. The artist who made this otter, I have never met somebody so. Like he is the hardest worker I've ever met. Like he is total mindset. Like he makes models now full time, and so he left his job, like full paying corporate job with health benefits, to work on this full time. And so like his brain is like, I have to be everything. I have to be perfect. I have to be ahead of the curve. I have to be constantly working on DLC and expansions. Like when a holiday comes around, he made like a Halloween otter that had like ribs sticking out, and it was cool. And you could just throw it on your current one and have a Halloween themed version of your avatar. Same thing with like Christmas and all that. Like I'm sure there'll be there was a Valentine's Day one, and I'm sure that we'll have more in the future. So like he's the hardest worker I know. He built a world just so that he could do meetups for people who buy his avatar, and it's It's amazing he manages to fit it all into a day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I feel like he's constantly working. But yeah, devoted artists showing off their craft because it's just what they're obsessed with in a good way, in a productive way. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Motivates me, as content creators. Like, you gotta have to have that mentality.
How did you find out you were a furry growing up? Was it just like you just saw and was like, this is me? Or was it like a process?
It was definitely a process. It wasn't even until like maybe a year and a half ago that I
Whoa.
was like, okay, I'm a furry. Yeah, no, I went a long time. It's just like, I don't know, it was something I never really had a name for. I just didn't really think on like the affinity I had for it. I just kind of, it was always like, now when I think back, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense, like when you look back at your favorite movies and your favorite books, like just being obsessed with tigers and like my favorite, like I remember now these books I used to read, even just picture books as like a really young kid. Like I just loved the idea of it, and it just grew over time, and then eventually, like I was like, before I even like admitted it to myself, I was like only exclusively following artists on Twitter. I stopped following like mutual friends and like actual like celebrities and news sources and stuff. I stopped following them and just started following like artists after artists after artists after artists. And I was like taking the art I liked and putting it in a Google album so I could keep it. I was like, I don't know what it is about these pieces. I just need to have them. And then I realized I was like, oh, I think I'm just compiling like a Sona or something. Like I think I'm just like, I didn't realize it was happening, and then I was like, oh damn, oh shit, like, and then it had to be. I kind of felt nervous, so I like weaned it onto because I was a streamer before, not a big one. I was a very small one, but I was still a streamer like before I started publicly talking about furry stuff, because like I did music, like I said, and so I had people following me who I like close friends who like it wasn't on their radar, or maybe didn't, they were just really quiet about it, but like I was like, I'll stream the furry stuff, but I'm not tweeting it out or something, or like retweeting the art and stuff. And then eventually I was like, like anything, the more you like it, the more you want to do it, and the less you care about what people think about it. And so I went full send, and some people like they never talked to me again, and other people are like, damn, you look really happy, and I'm happy for you. So, but yeah, it snuck up on me. But now when I think back, oh, it just built over time. I probably was a furry for forever, and I just didn't really have a name for it until like a year and a half ago when I was like, this feels good, and I can totally brand with this. So.
That makes sense. How did you get into singing in like show business?
That's like always been my calling. I started singing when I was 5. I started learning piano, I started learning piano and then singing at 4. I got put in school like a little bit younger, and yeah, like alongside piano, I was doing school choir, and then that expanded to like choir, and then jazz band and musical theater, and I loved musical theater, and that expanded. Like I just did more and more of that, and went to college and just did even more of that, and then like I've been singing forever. I started with the basics, and then I just started taking private lessons, and then I marketed. I moved to New York City, and my goal was like, I was really into musical theater, so my goal is I'll move to New York. Well, okay, rewind a little bit. I studied musical theater in college, but I didn't get my degree in it. I got my degree in biology, health and disease. I was like, I can tolerate this. I'm generally interested in like medicine to some degree, and I was gonna get 2 degrees. I was gonna get that and then get my musical theater. On a whim, I sent an audition tape into this prestigious studio in New York, like saying, maybe I could do their program, and they accepted me. And so I got my 1 degree, but I didn't finish the musical theater one, and I just moved to New York City without a job and just started. And then the first week I was there, I like applied to some lower position at a cancer hospital. And so that obviously afforded me the ability to live there, barely. And then I would sprint at the end of work, like sprint over to the studio and train there and work there. And then on the weekends and when I had free time, I was picking up small jobs, little commercials, some like photography, like little modeling stuff. And then that expanded to slightly bigger stuff. I did some like day work on a few network shows. And then my goal though was like, oh, I like the singing more than anything else. Oddly enough, the jobs I was getting were not musically related at all. So I just started going for like crazy night slots at like lounges and bars and clubs. I would go on at like 2 a.m. and do like 3 songs, and it was torture, but I loved it because it was my opportunity to actually do what I wanted. So that's like when I felt like I had quote unquote made it, actually, because the first time I actually had like a good prime time gig was at this lounge in Times Square called the Rum House, and it had that, it was like 10 p.m. so it wasn't that late. It was lively. It was a weekend, Times Square. And I got to sing. I'm a big Billy Joel fan. I always have been. He's been an inspiration for all that, like musically. I know all his songs. And I got to sing New York State of Mind in Times Square live with a band, and I was like, this is like, I'd been on like 3 HBO shows by that point, and I was like, that's what I felt like I had made it there. Like the TV shows, whatever, but this felt cool. I was like singing, I was like on that high. And so like that's, you know, I got into show business basically like any other actor or any other performer, just wherever you fit in, wherever, like, you don't turn down a job, you don't say no. Obviously, out like with self-respect, like you don't want to you don't want to force yourself to do nudity or be unsafe, but like otherwise you consider everything. And I just filled roles that I could fill, commercial, TV, blah 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 blah. And then I got into the music scene, and then I was like, I can apply this to Twitch. I've been watching streamers forever. And so then I started doing that, and then, you know, it went well, so I was able to pull back from everything else, and then I went full time. So like, I still feel like I'm in show business. Like, I'm a big sucker for production values because it makes me feel like I'm still in show business. And that's, you know, I had modeled my content around that. So, yeah, I mean, I got into it because it was just my calling. The way like when I sing and the music's right and my voice feels good, I feel like I'm floating. Like, I feel it doesn't get any better than that.
That's a great story. Like,
see people's reactions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to perform at the end of the interview? It's up to you. You don't have to.
I mean, yeah, I could sing a little something. I did a concert yesterday. My voice is a little hoarse, so you'd have to, have to give me.
Sure,
but I'd sing a little something. Awesome. And if you ever do live, like whenever you ever do live music guests, I would love to bring my skill set over to in the future if you ever do.
Yeah, the one person that's always asked me, I always get like, where's the band at? And I'm like, it costs money, man. Like, and also the other fact is, like, having multiple people like play instruments in VR chat just doesn't work. It's just, I'm like, the sync.
Oh yeah.
It's just delay.
Yeah, there's been I get asked that all the time because there's some wonderful, crazy talented musicians in VR, VR chat, and we'll all get, like, everybody's chats are always filled with like, hey, do you know so and so? They sing. You should duet with them. And I'm like, oh, trust me, we've talked about it, but it's like next to impossible. Like, you cannot duet musically. Same thing with instruments to voice or just instruments in general. So like the only way people can get around that, or not so much that, is like playing tracks through voice mod, where you layer your voice with the music coming out of your avatar, and that, that's about it, like as far as you can get it to, it sounds really good though. It's just, you can't, it's like you almost can't have like a full band, so
yeah,
which is sad.
Yeah, I always wanted to, like, oh man, it would be dope to like have like a VTuber group that was like a band, and they're all just playing. Like, you have the singer, you have the guitarist, you have the bass, you got the drums. I would think that would be dope, but like the chance of that happening is like very, very slim with just sync issues. Like,
oh yeah,
maybe with Discord, I don't know. Is Discord like syncing good? I don't know.
It's just as bad. I mean, any latency at all is going to mess you up, no matter how small it is. If there is latency, now there is a program that nobody really talks about called Jamkazam, which everything goes into it. It evens out all the latency. It like obviously picks up the latency and then neutralizes it all. And then puts it out as one source. So you can, that's how like people are able to like practice long distances. You download the program. It's janky, like it's not perfect, but it works. It's like the only way. Like I've used it, and I've recorded like tracks with musicians. Like somebody played a guitar in Louisiana, and I was singing in New York, and we made a song together. So like it works, and I want to explore. That's one of my next. Like I want to explore the possibility of running that while in VR chat. Is there going to be a noticeable delay in like, you know, the performance or anything? But like that's if we manage it, but like otherwise any latency, like it's going to mess you up, because it's, you need like to sync. Even in real life it's hard enough to be synced up with somebody like standing next to you just to be in the same rhythm. So yeah, it's tough.
Makes sense. Any streamers you watch or enjoy from any community?
Yeah, from any community, like anywhere on Twitch.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be specifically VR chat.
Yeah. So I love there's actually this streamer that's been around for a while. He was the first streamer I ever watched. I used to be heavily into Destiny, like video game, not streaming, just video gaming. Yeah. Like I played Destiny, and then they added like a competitive playlist called Trials of Osiris. And I was like, oh, I love this competitive side. So I started watching streamers that played it, and then I know like there's people doing YouTube videos of like them, or they're so good they can solo like against a team of 3, and I found a streamer who was doing that, and his name is Real Crafty, and so I just started watching his streams for the longest time, and like I've been watching him for almost 5 years now, and you know, which was really sweet. So he's like a big streamer, like he's big, he's you know, almost 1 million followers. So like I never really had any intention of like developing any sort of, but then like I literally, because I like admittedly this week I just got partnered, and I popped into his chat because I wanted to thank him, because he was the person who got me into streaming. Like just the idea of making a Twitch account and exploring what you could do. He's got a very similar humor to mine. I definitely was inspired by him, and I wanted to hop in his chat and be like, hey, you know, just like I'd resubbed. It was like I have a bunch of months in a row. I've been subbed to him for a while. I resubbed, and I was like, I put the message. I was like, hey, just wanted to thank you. Like we got partnered this week, and before he even read it, he saw it, and he's like, hey, that's new. I don't know. I felt validated. Like I felt like he recognized me. Anyways, it was just a nice moment, and so I still watch him to this day. And he plays like Apex. Like he just plays competitive shooters. Yeah. He's just he plays games that I don't play. Like I like playing Apex Legends, but I've almost enjoyed watching him play it more because of the color commentary. So like I put him on the TV and I just go about my day. It's nice. Other than that, I follow a bunch of professional Rocket League players. I love Rocket League. That's like my like cool down game. Like put on music, zone out, don't need a lot of like brain power. I can just like zone out for a bit and play for a couple hours. And so like I love playing that, and then I love watching the pros play in like the tournaments. Like they do the RLCS, the championship series, and so like I just follow them. They're a bunch of like 16-year-olds who have incredible talent. It's like I've been playing that. I have like almost 2,000 hours in Rocket League, and these kids have they're like 16 and have like 8,000 hours, and they're doing things I could never imagine, like levels of coordination that I didn't think was humanly possible. But you know, here they are sitting with like crazy numbers and just playing. And so I follow them. And then, you know, my friends, I watched, like I pop in and out of friends who stream within VR chat, and just, you know, like bouncing around with those, because you gotta show love to the homies. But yeah, that's pretty much what makes up my whole Twitch follow list. It's like Real Crafty, bunch of Rocket League streamers, and then a bunch of VR chat streamers.
I got you. For me, it's like almost I follow almost everybody that's not VR chat, because I play this game almost 5,500 hours. I'm like, I don't want to like watch another VR chat streamer. I want to see what's going. I want to see what's going else in the world. You know, it's like, damn. Like, I sit and play this game every day. I want to see what's going on. Oh, some GTA. What's going on there? What's
right? I love that.
Yeah. That's just me.
Exactly.
Personally.
Like in my goal. Yeah, if I wanted to like if I wanted to bombard myself more with like VR chat, like I obviously that's pretty much my livelihood. So like, yeah, no, I'm always looking for the other stuff. just whatever weird stuff like I can find, and just people who have like they're not even close to anything on my radar. Just playing things I would never play, people I'd never meet or hang out with. I like that. It's just it feels like a little bit more removed in a good way.
Yeah. So you mentioned it, and I did, see that recently you got partnered on Twitch. So how does it feel like to finally, that you put all this hard work into it, and now you finally got partnered, and it happened live too?
Yeah, it feels really good. I like it feels really good. It's something like I've been streaming for 2 years, so we had just hit like my 2 year. Like I'm in the process of planning a 2 year stream celebration thing when it happened. So like it's just thinking back, like how far, like all the things that's changed. I tried everything under the sun, from streaming Rocket League matches and Destiny 1 to my laptop in the other room. To like doing music and then getting some good growth and having some wonderful opportunities, and then that dying out, and then having a bunch of health complications that took me off the map entirely, and having to like start all over. Like in over 2 years, like I remember I went to PAX East, and I have a couple of really good friends who do music on Twitch, and the partner party, they wanted them to perform live, so they're like, just be our roadie, like bring the equipment, and then they'll let you into the partner party. And I mean, like, it's totally status. Like at the end of the day, I get that, I mean, it's primarily status. Like, I mean, which is fine. Like I just, to me, it's now like a marker of like overcoming some of that stuff. And I just was at the partner party, and I just saw people that like have inspired me in different ways, like people I just watched, and I was like, man, they get to bond over this like achievement.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'm a sucker for status a little bit. I like, I'm not gonna lie and say that like it looks cool to get in a chat and there's a check mark, but I just, like, my immediate thought when I got the email while I was live, I was like, my immediate thought was like streaming to nobody, and then like just almost quitting Twitch entirely, and thinking like it just all the shit I went through, and it was a testament to like perseverance. I can be dramatic for a second. It really felt like I clawed my way back. I used to, like, when I was in New York City, I would like the bars, I would do a 2 a.m. gig to 7 people drunk at a gay bar in the Upper East Side. Mm-hmm. And like the only reason they were still there was because they saw me as like chum in the water. They would like, I would sing a song, and then afterwards they would like want to buy me a drink, and then they would like grope my shoulder, and it's like really weird. And I was like, I used to do that. Like, and I was like, that's a job. I was like, I'm living the dream. And it was just this like weird, like I think about those moments, and then I think about like I did a concert yesterday, and like the not so much the badge, but like the achievements it requires to get the badge. When I do my concerts to that number of people, I'm like, that's like bigger than an off-Broadway production. That like the number of people watching that, it's a bigger than any show I could have ever hoped to do, like live in person, like like in a real theater. Like that's slim to no possibility. It's just the odds are stacked against you, and so it just, like, I think about that. I think about how far it's come from literally nothing to like fighting tooth and nail just for the jobs that like were really uncomfortable and kind of grimy, to like this. And I was like, yeah, it feels really good. It feels really good to finally have broken through that upper echelon.
No, that's great. That's a good story. That's like a redemption arc. For me, it wasn't like as dramatic. It was just mostly like I've been playing and streaming VR chat since like December of 2017, and I had rise and falls, and then at some point I had like why am I even doing Twitch? I was like, I'm getting like 5 viewers. Like, what's the point? And then I had started to do a talk show a year ago on a whim, like literally, like Shia LaBeouf, like just do it. I literally watched that, no joke, unironically, and I was just like, all right, I want to make a talk show world and interview people. I thought it was like the stupidest idea, but I was like, okay, I'll do it, and then here we are. I didn't make this world specifically, but I paid a professional. But my first one I made myself, and then I kept doing it, and a lot of people like some people were supportive, some weren't. People are like, that's stupid. Like, why would you want to interview like people in VR chat, dude? Like, dude, what? All they do is like stand in front of a mirror. I was like, bro, what do you mean? There's more to that. So, over time, here we are, 232 episodes later.
That's crazy. That's totally what it is. It was a total moment where I was like, beyond all reason to like still choose to do it. I feel like that's what happened to me too. I was like, I don't really like I bought my VR equipment, like hoping that like I was like, I'm gonna stream it, and then, like I have no intention of it actually working, but it feels like it's something I want to do more than anything else. Like it's like a calling to me, and you just do it. You just like, it's that simple. You just decide to do it, and something sticks. I think of like, hopefully something sticks. I feel like I tried enough stuff on Twitch that like maybe I do something. Maybe I don't try and like game the system. Maybe I just do something. Maybe it's just a matter of doing something that I want to do that sounds fun, and I like more so living my truer self. Like embracing the fandom was a great anchor for like moving into that territory. And so yeah, like I completely understand that sentiment. You just like I was either quit or do something completely batshit like no, beyond all reason, and like obviously we both both worked out. So like that, I don't even know what's to be gained, like lessons in that. Maybe you just do what you want, what you feel like you want, and don't treat it like don't like gun for like, okay, my goal here is to just be super successful. Maybe it's just my goal is to have fun, do something that I actually can sustain, because I'm not going to get bored or burnt out, and then hope it sticks, And I think that's what the goal is as a streamer, if you plan on wanting to take it to that level.
I think it's been a huge learning curve for me, because I didn't have any journalism. I never took it in school or even in college. I just wanted to do it because I was just like, what am I good at? I can't dance really. I can't really sing. What do I do? Well, I talk to people, and I don't have anxiety or anything like that, and I can just talk to anybody, like whoever it is in any world, any place, I can do that. So I was like, okay, let's form some sort of content about that. So what kind of stuff can you do? And I was like, okay, well, I guess a talk show or podcast, and then here we are. So this wasn't my first idea either. Like I actually wanted to do a news show like 2 years ago. It didn't work out. I thought about doing a talent show. That didn't even work out either, because I had to rely on people to show up, and they don't even show up. And then I'm like streaming, and I'm like, it's like that meme. It's like, where is everybody? And it's like, oh, well, well, that didn't work out. So, it's a learning curve, And then I was like, what's easier and simpler? Just getting one person to show up, and that would be a talk show. So.
It's an absolute crazy skill set. I mean, it's why we listen to a lot of podcasts now. It's like the art of being able to extract something in an organic way. That's a harder skill set than I think people give credit for. Like you said, I also I don't have that anxiety in a way, and so I feel this unfettered ability to employ the skills that I trained for, when I was and I learned as a performer, as an entertainer. So it makes me feel fulfilled, and it's just applying the one thing I know I can do in the best way I know I can do it. That's as an interview, being able to interview somebody without, being able to just the idea of dead air scares the crap out of me. There was some and so being hyper vigilant of that, that alone, being able to cope with that and know how to handle it is like a feat in and of itself. And then be able to bounce off somebody, almost bring them into it too, and get them that's hard. That's really hard. It's an impressive skill.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you deal with trolls? If someone comes to your chat and starts a ruckus, do you just ban them? Do you just try and educate them? What's your procedure?
It's case by case. I mean, obviously, there's the hate groups, there's the anti-LGBTQI plus crowd. Those are quick bans, that's because they always come in with slurs, and it's there's no, gone, get out of here. I don't want to put my channel it's an adult channel. It's a mature 18 plus, but my number one goal. people in my chat need to feel safe. They need to feel when they're in my chat that they're safe, that they're valid, and like I don't want them to feel like anybody else in my chat could at any point bully them or make them feel invalid or wrong. And so like when I see stuff like that, it's like, okay, instant ban. And then there's some people that come in, they're like, why do you even do like furry stuff? Like what do you even see in it? It's weird. And then like, you know, like my chat and there's like a way in. There's like usually we see that as like a reach, like for a better understanding of it. And so then, you know, we can try and educate what it is. I mean, it's like I hate equating sexuality with the fandom because they're like not even on the same, like not even close to the same level of stuff. The sexuality stuff, the hate groups, that's a quick ban, anything like that. Even if they just come in with like crazy obscenities about the fandom or about me or about my skill or whatever, like that's just mean and they're blah. But if they come in and they're somewhat curious, even in a more aggressive way, then it's like, oh, well, the furry is just a fandom. It's like art based, really. You know, it's heavily based in like just depictions of this alternate form that we find cute or fun, and like it's really that simple. I mean, like you just break it down like anything anybody else is into, any of the other fandoms. I think like that the equating of like any other fandom is used a lot, like anime and watching sports. It's like you see something and you associate with it. You see your favorite player, you know, like in the NFL, and you're like, I want to root for them. I like them. I buy their jersey, you know. And you see somebody, you watch your favorite TV show, and you love the inside jokes, and you watch it over and over again on Netflix. Like, why? Like, you're into something because you like it. It makes you happy. And the world's a pretty dark place a lot of the time. So if you find a way to grasp onto something that makes you smile and makes it worth it and allows you to get through the day, there's nothing wrong with that. And so that's just, you know, we paint that picture for them. You know, like anything you like, if you have a hobby, this is our hobby. You know, it's like there's always going to be people in everything that are bad apples, but generally it's all harmless. So, you know, like, and then if they're non-conducive, then they're gone. But some people will stick around. Some people hear that and they're like, yeah, okay, I'm down for this. I like you. I don't see the fandom. Like, that's not my cup of tea, but I like you. And so that's cool.
No, I getcha. I sort of get trolls too, you know. I play as a female characters and guys, so they're obviously just like, what's wrong? Like, what there's something wrong with this, you know. I just, after a while, I started making jokes, you know, how I have, you know, anime girlitis and things like that, and I'm just like, hey, you know, I just woke up like this, you know. You know, it happens, you know. So
yeah,
I get it.
No, that's, I mean, like, for all intents and purposes, like, you know, if somebody asks, like, oh no, I actually only exist in the digital realm. This is, you know, I don't actually have a flesh prison. I'm just a tiger on the internet. Yeah. Obviously, like, it's just fun to describe it in that way. But yeah, like, it doesn't have to be like, I like you could take it at face value. There's really, like, at the end of the day, I just like doing this. It makes me happy. There's no deep-seated. When people always ask, like, did you come out to your parents about being furry? I was like, no. It's like, do you tell them like that you started collecting Hot Wheel cars, like, which I also do? Like, no, it's inconsequential. It doesn't really have anything to do with them. It's like you don't have to come out about it. It's just it's a hobby, you know. And take it at face value. What you see is what you get. I'm an entertainer through and through. So like that's whether it's this or me in real life, which I used to stream in real life. I have a camera. I spent essentially like hundreds, thousands on like my lighting, my LED panels and the camera. I have like a DSLR, and now none of it gets any use. And so like, you know, like nothing changed. I just feel more myself. I feel like this is a better vehicle to get my entertainment value across. So like what you see is what you get, and yeah, it's that simple.
Absolutely. What keeps you streaming and to create content? What's like your inspirations to keep going every day?
It's why I've ever wanted to entertain. I love seeing people's reactions. I love when you say something that makes them laugh or question something or makes them sad. Like, you know, like whatever, just feel an emotion. When I was in college, I was acting at a regional theater there, and I did like a small two-person play about like an army vet. And I remember doing a monologue, and in the middle of the monologue, because like I was just like, I didn't really know what I was doing, you know, like I was just trying to break into the scene, the industry, whatever. So I really don't know what I was doing. I wasn't even applying any real, like, I didn't really learn anything yet. And then I did this monologue, probably not that good. but some elderly woman, like, just out of nowhere starts crying. Like, in my initial thought, I was like, do we need to stop the production? Like, she's clearly hurt. And this is going to sound like, it sounds weird to say, but I genuinely thought she was hurt. And so, like, you know, we ended the show. Like, luckily we worked towards the end. And I was like, I turned to the crew and was like, I think, like, is she okay? Like, she, you know, she was in the back. She was elderly. She had a cane. I was like, what happened? And then she came up to me, like, right after the show, right when I was talking to them, she came up to me and she was like, your performance was just so good. I couldn't help but cry. And then I was like, oh shit, I can give people that reaction. Like, I can do that. I can have that power. And I was like addicted to that. I love being able to pull people out of whatever situation they're in emotionally and kind of transport them somewhere for a little bit, you know, maybe make them forget, like, whatever's going on, if they so choose to, you know, give into it. And so the craving for, like, that in some capacity in any way is what keeps me going. Just, it fuels me. Whether it's music, I mean, I love when it's music. I love when I can sing a sad song and people feel the emotion in it, or a happy song lifts their spirits. But I love, like, making them laugh. I love being comedic. I love being funny, and I love seeing, like, people see me do the ridiculous things and say the ridiculous stuff, and it's just, when I see that they enjoy that, oh god, that's everything. It makes me feel like that's my purpose. That's my contribution to society. Like, I have, you know, I'm not just taking up space. That's what excites me. That's why I go live every single time. I'm just so excited just to see that.
No, I feel that.
People to entertain.
Yeah, I feel that. Like, I think the biggest validation for me was after doing interviews for a while and, like, just randomly just being in the world of VR chat. Like, some people come up to me, not even on my friends list. They're just like, hey, I know you. You're that guy that did the interview with that person. That was actually really good. I really appreciate that. Hey, well, when's the next interview, man? Like, I was like, tomorrow. They're like, yo, I'm in. I want to watch that. So that was, like, the biggest validation for me. I was just like, damn.
Oh, yeah.
I got to keep going. I can't let this person down, you know?
Yeah, they're looking for something. I mean, they're reaching out for it. People show up for whatever reason. I mean, even because they're bored, or they accidentally click on you, or you're on the recommended site. They were there because they were looking for something. And when you fill whatever they're looking for, like that, it's like, it feels like fate. It feels like they won't. There's something that you have that you can give them that would that will improve their situation. Mm-hmm. Even just a minuscule amount. Even if it's just like a snore, like on a joke that you made, and then they move on. Even just that is like an impact on somebody. They had an experience directly because of something we did. It's like, there's nothing more to living life than that for me. Genuinely, like, that's all I ever want. That's why I do it. Mm-hmm. No brainer.
We'll start taking questions from the chat/forum, just to let you know. We've been going for just over an hour. So I'll read out these names here and their questions. Pardon me if I can't pronounce some people's names, by the way. I'm really bad at names. I'm, like, dyslexic towards names. Kin17 asks, for you, Tygre, do you own a fursuit or want one? If you do own one, can we see it?
I don't own one, but I really do want one. That's my current financial goal. Mm-hmm. That my community and I are working towards. I want one. I want one really bad, but I don't have one yet. No. If I do get one, I would love to show people. I'll show it everywhere. I'm very excited about the prospect of it.
I'm just scanning through some of them because some of them are, like, questions you already answered.
Sure.
Next is Star 100. What's the weirdest thing you ever eaten?
I've spent a lot of time traveling. Not so much, obviously, none recently, but I traveled to Costa Rica to do some, like, field hiking in the Amazon, and there's this little port town somewhere along the Amazon River. I don't even remember the name of the town, but they were serving grubs, like those big grubs that, like, they look like those larvae, you know, those big larvae.
Yeah.
I used to hate most insects. I lived in New York City, so there's cockroaches everywhere, and I developed a phobia of them. So, like,
oh god,
like, but then I went to then I went to the rainforest though, and then you see it in its real habitat. You see insects, like it changed my mind on it. But it was right at that precipice of my opinion changing when all of a sudden we're in this town, and my brother and his girlfriend, now wife, and my younger brother, they were like, yeah, let's do it. Like, YOLO. This is like the only chance we'll have an opportunity to like eat grubs off of like a street vendor in the middle of the rainforest. It's like, we gotta do it. And I was like, no, we don't. We don't have to do anything. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, what the heck?
But it was like 3 against 4, and they're like, we're gonna buy you one and you're gonna eat it. And then like, they pop it on the grill. It takes 4 seconds to cook because it's this big, and they hand it to you on a skewer and you just bite it off. Shockingly, it tastes like literally nothing. If anything, it tastes like popcorn because there's nothing in it. There's barely like a small level of protein, and then it's crispy. So it actually wasn't that bad, but it was definitely the weirdest thing I ever ate. The weirdest thing about that too is that they asked me, do I want the pincer, like the pincer on the front of like the larva's head? Like, do you want that off or on? And then the cook was like, the cook essentially the grill. I want to say cook, but it was really just like an abuela, like standing in front of a grill, cooking them and handing it to us for like, next to nothing. So like it was their personal business, and she was like, you want to leave it on? It's for the texture. I was like, I don't think you understand why that's not a good thing. Anyways, I ate it with the head on. It was fine. Tastes like nothing, but it was definitely the weirdest thing I ever ate.
Damn. So Jay, who's in the audience, asks, if money wasn't an issue and you had all the time in the world, what is the number one thing or place you would want to do / go?
That's a really good question. If I had all the time in the world, my favorite place on earth, and I've been to a lot of places, was Florence, Italy. And there's something about I love pre-Renaissance art. I love the grandmasters like Da Vinci, Michelangelo, and I love that. And like that's kind of like the birth, like the hub for that type of stuff. I'd probably just go to Florence and spend all of my time at the Uffizi and like go to like, there's this portrait I didn't get to see when I was there, but there's this portrait. It's the largest collection of portraits in the world, and there's this walkway. It goes across the river where the Ponte Vecchio is, and it's just hundreds and hundreds of portraits painted by artists throughout time. They're hundreds of years old, and it was being renovated when I was there. I want to go back, and I just want to. I'm one of those people that could spend from opening to close at a museum, and I'm not I'll read about the history of them later, but I just love staring. I love looking at the art and absorbing every little detail because I don't want to ever forget it. And so I would go, if I had all the time in the world, all the resources, I'd go to Florence, Italy, and I'd spend all my time in the museums just observing and learning and just, yeah, that's probably what I'd do. I just love that idea. I want to do it someday. I would love to retire to a villa in Florence to live out the rest of my days at some point, That'd be the dream.
Heck yeah. Next question. Ken asks again, what's it like being a furry VTuber, and do you have any thoughts on how furries can be further supported on VR chat?
It's awesome. It's awesome. I love it. The community that I've managed, it's like if anything, the only drama you could ever expect from it actually has nothing to do with being a furry. It just has to do with certain people. Some people are just tough to kind of be around. But I love it. I love how I feel, how it makes me feel. I feel adorable. I feel really animated, literally and emotionally. I feel better represented. The friends I've made already have overcome. It's just the fandom's already filled to the brim with trivialized people, people who've always felt on the outskirts. So your base level is already the base level of understanding for one another is already really high. I would go as far as to say it's predominantly LGBTQIA plus. And if they're not, then if a person is not a part of that community, then they're a heavy ally because everybody around them is within the community. So you already have that base level of acceptance and understanding. It's very art focused, so everybody loves sharing their art and their sonas, and it's like the one thing the world could never get enough of is art. So I spend my days being surrounded by people who are just so supportive, and if anything, to be supported more in the VTube community is just breaking down any sort of like barrier that like you're part of this fandom or you're part of this VTube community, like to like why like you can always like it's almost like there's an air of furries stick to the furry world with furry communities, and then like it's weird when you break out and you go with somebody who's not a furry to their world with their friends and you're the only furry there, and it's like I don't mind doing that. It doesn't bother me. But I know people who will avoid those situations because they feel like they don't want to cross over. So I mean, I don't know if that's so much a sport thing as it is just people like understanding that there doesn't have to be lines. Why start drawing them now? But I mean, it's just as long as you're, I don't feel unsupported. If you surround yourself with the right people, then I know the people around me give me full support, and I support them, so I don't feel like I'm lacking anything. It's just maybe people opening their minds a little bit, and understanding that the furry fandom is like any other fandom. It's not any more or less cringe than anything else. Just a matter of opinion. There's nothing to cringe over, so just if people like from looking outside in, just open their minds a little bit that it's not that crazy. It's not some we're not like crackpots that are obsessed blah blah blah. No, we're just people into stuff. It's simple. So maybe that.
I've had some encounters. It was interesting where like I interviewed another person that was a furry a while ago. And they invited me to hang out, like do it for like a drinking night or something. And I joined, respectfully. And it was just a different atmosphere. Like everybody was like, it was the part of the Nanachi community. So everybody there was a Nanachi, and I was like the only human. And I was like, man, this is like, I'm like the outsider here. What's going on? And I'm like, I'm like 6 foot tall, and everyone's like 2 feet tall, and I have to like look down.
God, yeah.
I'm like, hello there.
Yeah. They're like my height, like to give like an understanding of like when I like last night it was Saturday and I go to those drinking nights. I'm sure the person you interview is probably somebody I know. Yeah. No, they're all around my height. So you guys see how where I am in this chair in comparison to Rebel. Like this is like I'm maybe a little bit smaller. I'm probably maybe 30% smaller than like they're not that much taller than me, but like this is like kind of the base is that the people I hang out with. So then like I'm in these situations and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot what like normal size is. Like you are like normal size, I'm just tiny.
I'm just a giant.
It is jarring. Also, I've been in the same. I felt weird as an otter in a Nanachi meetup. Like even within the furry community, I felt like I was like everybody's here Nanachis, and I'm the only one that's not a Nanachi. Do I need a Nanachi? It like hadn't even crossed my mind. I still felt like kind of on the outs there. I was like, oh, this is interesting. So I feel that, and I couldn't imagine.
I had to get down the
Who
floor.
was it, out of curiosity?
I believe it was Archon Eclipse, maybe.
Oh, yeah, Archon and I are tight. Yeah, we're on the same like the same stream team. I like Archon.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I think it was him and there's another person escapes me now, but it's been like close to a year, so it was a while ago, and they just invited me once, and I was like, I might as well join. Let's see what this is like. And it wasn't bad or anything. It was just like I'm super tall, and they're like hello,
like,
yeah.
lay down.
I had to like literally do this like on the floor. I had to like pop on the floor, and as a prone, and they're just like, you're a giant, and I'm like, yeah, that's me.
We are just so little, running around, skittering around. Like, yeah, that's definitely one of the reasons too why people like a lot of the phrase like they don't go to human get-togethers is because like also a size thing. Like I have to play space and move up to people. I have a slightly larger version of this avatar that I call my big avatar, and it's just 30% higher than this. So I mean, I'd still be like standing on this chair, but yeah, like it's a very I keep forgetting how tiny I really am. Everything else around me is just big. Even when I go to Worlds and the coffee cups, like all the worlds are designed for like normal sized people. So like these coffee cups, like I'll be in Worlds and I'll still forget I'm tiny. I'm so used to jumping up on tables and holding cups with like 2 hands, and like the pencils are always like this big. Like I'm so used to that it doesn't cross my mind. And then I join in like this. I'm like, oh no, I'm just a little grain of rice, standing on a chair, play space moving around.
Yeah, it's definitely an experience to be had. I wish it was more just like integrated where like anyone's accepted, but like it just hurts me when like I see like you only see the Nachis of the Nachis, you only see anime women with anime women, you only see whatever with whatever. It's just like, what is this, prison? Like it's like the prison mentality.
Yeah, right. Like, stick with your crew. Yeah, that's why, like, and I feel like I'm part of maybe this new wave vision of it. Like, my social circle, like, people ask I consider myself a furry because I love the fandom. I like associating with it, but I have people who like they like being or they have nothing. They just want to be them. I have a friend who like whenever somebody asks, he uses he's another streamer, Melon Hardy. He is a cat. He's like, he loves the furry fandom and he loves the art, and he'd probably call himself a furry behind closed doors, but like somebody comes into his chat and he's like, are you a furry? And he'll be, and like, even if it's not, like, maybe it could be a genuine question, like, are you a furry? And he's like, I'm just a cat, you know. One of my best friends too, Jabbles, gets asked. They're like they have a, I forget a kitsune avatar, I believe is the proper phrase, like that, and they get asked all of the questions under the sun. Are you a guy? Are you a girl? Like, you know, what's your gender? Are you a furry? Are you like where do you fit? And he's like, I'm just Jabbles across everything, whether it's fandom related or gender related. He's like, I'm just Jabbles. Like, yeah, they're like, yeah, but we're on the LGBT. He's like, I'm just Jabbles. He goes by Jabbles. He doesn't care what pronouns are used. And I'm like, I love that. There's no lines there, you know? Like, I don't feel like I need to specifically stay in that camp, and several of my friends don't feel like they need to be labeled for anything. And I feel like that's the direction that it should go in, and I feel like it's moving in that direction. Slowly, but hopefully. It feels like that to me.
Buff Puff, next question. Buff Puff asses. Excuse me, I have a stutter problem sometimes. Who would win in a fight, you or me, Tygre?
Well, I love Buff. Classify winning, because you would hit me and then I'd just cry. I'd fake cry and curry sympathy really fast, and then I'd have all the white knights showing up to protect me. So that's you may win the battle, but I would win the war.
Yeah.
The war. Yeah. Checkmate.
Well, I didn't ask that. Wait, what? Then who wrote your name? What do you mean? Someone's fake identity. Stop the polls.
All right. Stop
fake,
the polls. Yeah.
Fake news. Fake news, man.
Fake news. Somebody.
Anyway,
Buff Up and I would just get distracted, slap, plain slap ass. So, there'd be no fighting.
We may have to speed through some of these questions, but Bambi Man 120919996 asks, what has been of your favorite moments while streaming?
Wow, that's actually a great question. I don't think. Okay, and probably on top of the list was this week when I finally got partnered. I went back. It took me 2 days to go back and watch the clip because I was so afraid of cringing. I was like, oh my god, I just collapsed on the floor. I was like, there's no any of the part of that was like some like entertainment. I was probably like, and I watched. I was like, okay, this is cool. Like, that's cool. I heard my notification. Like, if you listen closely in the clip, you hear the notification go off, and then I see it, and then I freak out. That, like, I remember that in the moment, and I was like, damn, that's awesome. Probably that. Close second was when I was on Front Page, doing music. That was a lot of fun. Third, a close third is when I got to do my first festival. It was a digital festival called Winwood, and it was raising money for the Black Lives Matter Fund and OneUp.org, and Yeah, I got to perform a set with all original music. First time I got to perform with only originals, and that was like a big marker for me, that I was like streaming my music, and those are probably my top three. Yeah.
Okay. Little Schmeedy boy. He says, "How are you doing today? Smile."
How am I? Oh, that's so sweet. Today's been a great day. I didn't stream today. Sundays I have the day off, so I slept in. I had some curry rice to eat. Played with my doggy. I have a 2-year-old husky. It was a good day. It was relaxing. I have to admit that I can, getting partner. I can, I don't like taking days off. I mean, my boyfriend's in the crowd. He yells at me because I don't take enough time off. Because I feel that compulsive draw to perform and be on. I love that. And so I feel like the rest of this week after getting partner was like a victory lap. And I'm like, you know what? I can actually put everything down in a way this Sunday. And so I felt a level of relaxation that I probably haven't felt in a while. So I'm doing really good today, and I appreciate you asking. Thank you. I'm very happy, and I'm in a very good place.
Bro Hedicus? Brigeticus,
yeah.
Brigeticus,
He's
sorry.
a dear friend.
Approximately how many Tygre-themed art pieces do you own?
Physically in my apartment, I own, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I only own 3. I own 3 paintings. One is this big realistic painting that I found it. They were all thrifted. I got them all from a thrift, when I find them at old antique, vintage or thrift shows. My husky, that's my dog. His name is Rampage, and he's very needy right now. And I have a really realistic painting in this cool wood frame that is it sits right next to my it's nailed to the wall, hanging on the wall next to my bed. And then the other ones are in my streaming studio and just on the walls. So only three.
This would be the last question from the audience. Let's chat. Jib Flutterhouse says or asks, is there a cultural difference between the digital furry community and the IRL furry community? If there is, what would you say would convince someone to transition between the two? If there isn't, is there a good number of people going to IRL conventions as well as digital conventions?
So people tend to be shocked to find out that I've never been to a conference. I was a furry almost I've not gone to any of the conventions. Long story short, I apologize for him. Yeah,
that's fine.
Making noises. He's a husky and he's not growling. He moves like a cow. So that's his way of expressing it. He moves. But there's my suggestion, if you were if you're exclusively in the real life physical world of furry, I mean, even if you're not planning to get into VR, just understanding that the community is so much more accessible online in a way that allows you to bridge the gap between conventions and stuff. Or a lot of people I don't know any furries in real life, so now all of my friends are I was able to reach a social circle that I never otherwise would have had if I didn't have if I hadn't invested in the online side of things. A lot of the bigger names in the furry community who I didn't even know existed until I started streaming it and VTubing and doing furry stuff online. We just our paths start to cross, and I was realizing that they're already making the jump. They're turning to streaming. I mean, they already have the world's eyes on them as a furry, as a staple, because their fursuits or their performances or their art. So they're well, this is just another way for outreach, and I can meet more people. And then coming from the other direction, people that don't have access to the fandom otherwise, if you're looking to just make more friends and feel a little bit more welcomed and validated and seen and heard, it's there waiting for you. So I by all means think you could just add it into your start small. Twitch is a great place to do it. There's tons of furry streamers. They're all very accessible, even the bigger ones, because very supportive community. Or you can start on Twitter and start talking to your favorite artists, just that type of stuff. And then you eventually, what happens is like you talk to them and they want to introduce you to like 3 of their friends, and it just grows from there. That's how it happened for me. I started streaming it, like I started doing the furry stuff to nobody, with nobody, and it's just, you grow over time. You meet more people, like anything. It's the beauty of the digital age, like to be able to do that. Have more outreach. I say bridge the gap. I say do it. Do physical and digital.
Absolutely, I agree, 100%. So, we'll wrap up this interview in a few minutes here, but is there anything you would like to say? Any final words? Anything you want to shout out? Like, hey, I got a special thing going on tomorrow. Anything going on with you? Anything you want to shout out? Social media, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube.
Sure. Yeah. I primarily would love to shout out my Twitch channel, Tygre. It's it's in your title. I primarily stream out of VR chat, but we do a variety of things. Like tomorrow is Mad Lib Mondays. I don't know. Do you remember doing Mad? You remember Mad Libs? Like the Mad Libs books? Yeah. So they have an app, and essentially chat gives the words. I fill it out, and then I do like a dramatic reading of it, and it's funny as hell. Obviously, Mad Libs can only go one way, and it's ridiculous. Yes. So we do those on Mondays. A lot of times I have a guest host. It's really last minute, like whoever's available wants to come laugh, get them into the world, and we just laugh together. So that's tomorrow at 2. But if like primarily, I think that's something that I do that not anybody's really doing are the concerts that I put on, and I do those Wednesdays and Saturdays at Wednesdays at 2, Saturdays at 4. I did one yesterday. You could check in the VOD. If you're into something musical, I take requests. Like that's probably what I'm most proud of. That's my crowning achievement. So I would shout that out. But otherwise, I don't know. I'm really happy to be just in situations like this, opportunities to meet new people and feel not quite so isolated and alone in a time in the world where everything's kind of shut down and everybody's in their corners, and I think that's the one beauty, like the one thing that we have and we can relate to that a lot of people don't have right now is like we still can work, and we're like everything's turning digital and we're growing, and I just feel like that's really cool, and I love the people I get to meet because of it, because this world's flourishing, make somebody, I always say this at the end of my streams, go out every way, make somebody smile today. It's literally costs nothing, and it's so easy to just like shoot your friend a text, be like, yo, I'm thinking about you. Literally those words. You could literally be like, yo, I'm just thinking about you. And you never know. They might just be sitting on the couch having a great time, but they're like, oh, that's cool. Like, best case scenario, they're like in the dumps. And you have no idea. Those few words can like pull somebody right back from the brink. Yeah. Like just that. Just knowing that I'm on somebody's mind. Because it's so easy to like get in your head and spiral out and be like, oh my god, everybody's doing their thing, and like I'm nobody's go-to choice to like they're all hanging out with each other and I'm just the afterthought. And then somebody does that and you're like, oh no. It's not as bad. It's just in my head. People care on me. There's no reason why you can't just do that to one person. And once you do it once, go down your list and be like, you know what, 5 of these people, they're on my mind. See if they're check-in, see if they're all right. Not enough people do that, and I know I appreciate it every time. So I'm just trying to like get people to do it too.
Do you have any questions for me? Uno reversal card. So this operation you plan on expand? Is this your crowning achievement as a streamer? Like this, like the interview show? The interviews and like this is crazy production. This is amazing. If what you're saying is gonna come to fruition, like expanding on this and having different types of stages and different types of like performance stuff, this is like crazy. So is this like your calling? This is like your piece de résistance, like yeah. Would you say? Yeah, like this is just the start. Like I'm planning on expanding. It's just things take time. So it's just it'll take more time to develop more of this other stages and stuff like that, to have other types of content. Like I love doing interviews. I love talking to people. Like before I did interviews, I would literally like stream and just sit there and talk to somebody for 30 minutes. But I just didn't think the format was there. But when I started a format where it's like a talk show, it makes more sense. And so I'm planning on doing like, doing interviews, podcasts, even like, dating game shows where it could just be something silly. Like imagine like a dating game show where like you don't know what the person looks like, and they could be like Shrek or something. Like they could be a Shrek model, but they could be flirting, and I don't know. I just think that'd be funny. It could be a debate show where you're given a dumb topic and you have to debate it. It could be improv show where like whose line is anyway. It could be a fashion show where people show off their creations.
That's
their
awesome.
avatars.
You should do do you remember Match Game? A bunch of celebs doing. You can also do Match Game, but like with random like people with their craziest avatar, like a Shrek avatar with like a Thomas Tank Engine avatar. Like them just like I don't know, just answering questions as those characters. Like that'd be, the sky's the limit with that type of stuff. That's amazing. I'm excited to see. Oh wait, I don't know. One more question for you too. So okay, so like, what's that like guilty pleasure you have? I mean, you don't have to be guilty about it. It's just like the one like thing that you like if somebody, unless they really knew you, wouldn't expect. Like I like have a big collection of Hot Wheel cars. It's niche. It's weird. It's not that weird, but like it's just kind of random. Do you have anything like that? Something that like is just kind of a little off the wall.
Off the wall.
Or
I mean, I think all my hobbies are pretty like. Not like secret. I mean, I love art, for example. So there's a lot of fan art around the whole world. So that's not something that's like a guilty pleasure, I would say. I don't know. That's a tough question to answer because it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I like to play games for myself. Like I like grand strategy games. I don't even stream them, but I love playing like strategy games and like games that like really test my brain and trying to like run a whole like country and stuff like that and stuff like I don't know.
That's cool.
Or like I guess with like Netflix series, I like survival horror games and movies and stuff like that. So I try to like watch that, but it's just for me. I don't really tell people that sort of stuff. And yeah, I don't know. Like I guess that's me.
That's cool. What's your favorite genre of music?
My favorite genre of music?
If you have one. I know
if I
just like I don't know, just whatever comes.
Well, if I had to specifically choose, probably like rock or something like that, or like metal. But I typically like a lot of type of music, but I always go back to like something like Linkin Park or Metallica or AC/DC, stuff like that.
My people request a lot of Linkin Park, specifically Iridescent, because it's on my, request list. People love that's one of my favorites to perform. So I love Linkin Park. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can relate to that. That's cool.
Absolutely. Well, if you would like to perform, it's up to you. But we're gonna be wrapping up in like a minute, so it's up to you if you want to quickly sing something or say something.
Sure, I could sing a little something. I'll sing my favorite song. It's called. Now, I normally have a professional audio setup. I have a mic, blah, blah, blah. This is just through my index mic, so it's going to peak. It won't sound... But I will perform because I love singing, and any opportunity I get to ham it up, then I will. This song is called it's by Alan Stone. It's called Bet I Made. I could just do a verse if you want me to. I could do the whole song. What do you think? What's appropriate?
You could do a few verses. Why not,
Okay. All right. I took a plane over the stars and it didn't get me very far. Oh Lord, my problems still follow me. Well, I flew to the moon and it wasn't far enough away from you. Oh Lord, my problems still follow me. 'Cause every night I close my eyes and all my troubles fade. And every morning when I rise, I'm just sleeping in this bed. I'm just sleeping in this bed. Oh, I'm just sleeping in this bed. I made whole.
That was great. Thank you so much, Tygre. Thank you. Holy smokes. Jeez. That was great.
Thank you.
I had someone
Thank you.
perform a while ago. His name is Chips on VRChat. His Twitch name is StealthRG, and he was so good at singing that I got demonetized on YouTube.
No way. That happened to me. Oh my God. That just happened to me. I literally got locked out of my Twitter account like 2 weeks ago because I got DMCA striked for me singing.
Damn, you're just too good, man.
I took it as I was like, yes. I was like, I'll take that as a trophy. That's fine with me. Just now I have to be careful, but like that was that was like, oh nice, okay, validation from Twitter.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you for stopping by, Tygre. I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for coming on for the interview.
Anytime.
You can come by for another interview, or if you want to come by for one of those game shows when I plan on doing them in a couple months, for improv nights whatever I have going on. I get
all the above. You can always.
absolutely.
I'm considered. Yeah, my DMs are open anytime. I love this. Thank you so much for having me on. This is a lot of fun. I love this.
Yeah.
This is awesome. This is fabulous.
Thank you.
You are fabulous.
No,
you're very good at what you do.
No, you're fabulous. I'm just the host. I'm just, thank you to Dead Guy, my camera guy. Thank you to everybody. I appreciate it.
That's fabulous.
Yeah. Again, twitch.tv/Tygre, so it's Tygre. Just to let you know. Thank you so much. And before you go, we'll take a quick photo. I always take photos with every guest.